Stop scrolling through the same boring travel lists. You've seen the Great Wall on every documentary, the Taj Mahal on every postcard. But what if I told you that most people visit these places without understanding what makes them truly extraordinary? Today, I'm breaking down the 10 wonders of the modern world in a way you've never heard before, and number 1 might actually surprise you. Look, we've all seen those typical travel videos that just show you pretty shots and call it a day. But here's the thing, these 10 structures aren't just Instagram backgrounds. They're masterpieces of human ambition, engineering nightmares that somehow became reality, and stories that changed the world. So stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to see these places completely differently. And trust me, when we get to number 1, you'll understand why modern engineering might be even more impressive than anything built thousands of years ago. Here's what bugs me about most travel content out there. Everyone treats these wonders like they're just pretty buildings you need to check off a list. They tell you to visit them, snap a photo, and move on to the next one. But nobody talks about the real story behind them. Nobody explains why a building criticized when it was first built became the symbol of an entire nation, or why ancient civilizations were able to calculate astronomical events with pinpoint accuracy using nothing but stone and mathematics. That's what we're doing today. We're going deep into what makes each of these places an actual wonder, not just another tourist trap. Number 10. The Eiffel Tower, France. Let's start in Paris with a structure that people literally hated when it was first built. I'm serious. When Gustave Eiffel unveiled his Iron Tower in 1889, Parisians called it an eyesore. Artists and intellectuals signed petitions demanding it be torn down. They said it ruined the beauty of Paris, that it was just an ugly metal skeleton that had no place in their city. But here's what changed everything. The tower was supposed to be temporary. It was built for the World's Fair and was scheduled to be demolished after 20 years. So what saved it? Technology. When radio communication became important, the Eiffel Tower turned out to be the perfect transmission antenna. Suddenly, this useless structure became essential, and over time, something magical happened. People stopped seeing an iron frame and started seeing the soul of Paris itself. Today, it's the most visited paid monument in the world. Nearly 7 million people visit it every year. But what really makes it a wonder isn't just its beauty or its history. It's the fact that it proved everyone wrong. It showed that what one generation rejects, another can embrace as iconic. Standing at 330 meters tall, made of 18,000 pieces of iron held together by 2.5 million rivets, the Eiffel Tower is a testament to vision over convention. Number 9. Angkor Wat, Cambodia. Now we're traveling to Southeast Asia to see something that's not just big, it's absolutely massive. Angkor Wat is the largest religious monument on the entire planet. We're talking about over 400 acres of carved stone, intricate temples, and galleries that stretch as far as you can see. Built in the early 12th century by King Suryavarman II, this place was originally a Hindu temple dedicated to Vishnu. But here's what's wild about it. The temple complex is so precisely aligned with astronomical events that during the spring equinox, the sun rises directly over the central tower. The Khmer Empire didn't have modern tools, computers, or GPS. They had stone, mathematics, and an understanding of the cosmos that still impresses engineers today. But what really makes Angkor Wat special is what happened after its golden age. The city was eventually abandoned, and the jungle slowly reclaimed it. Trees grew through the walls. Roots wrapped around ancient corridors. For centuries, it was forgotten by the outside world, known only to local monks who maintained a small Buddhist presence there. Then, in the 1860s, French explorer Henri Mouhot brought it back to international attention, and the world was shocked that something this magnificent had been hiding in the jungle all along. Today, when you walk through Angkor Wat, you're not just seeing ancient architecture. You're seeing the perfect balance between human creation and nature's power. The way the stones have aged, how the jungle has intertwined with the structure, it creates this atmosphere that feels both ancient and alive. That's what makes it a wonder. It proves that even when civilizations fall, their greatest achievements can endure. Number 8. Christ the Redeemer. Brazil. You're standing in Rio de Janeiro, looking up at a 30-meter-tall statue of Jesus Christ, with arms stretched 28 meters wide, standing on top of a mountain 700 meters above the city. That's Christ the Redeemer, and it's one of the most powerful symbols of peace and hope in the modern world. This statue was completed in 1931, and building it was no joke. Getting all that reinforced concrete and soapstone up to the peak of Corcovado Mountain was a massive engineering challenge. They had to build a railway just to transport materials. The statue weighs 635 metric tons, and every single piece had to be carefully carried up that mountain and assembled at the top. But what makes Christ the Redeemer truly special isn't just its size or the difficulty of building it. It's what it represents. Those open arms aren't just a religious symbol, they're a gesture of welcome to everyone who comes to Rio. It says this city, this country, embraces you. And at night, when it's lit up against the dark sky, visible from almost anywhere in Rio, it becomes this beacon that unifies the city. There's something else fascinating about it too. The statue has been struck by lightning multiple times over the years. In 2014, lightning actually broke off a finger. But every time it's damaged, it gets repaired, because Christ the Redeemer isn't just a statue anymore. It's become part of Rio's identity, a symbol of resilience that watches over one of the most vibrant and energetic cities on Earth. Number 7. The Taj Mahal, India. Let me tell you a love story that turned into one of the most beautiful buildings ever created. In 1631, Mughal Emperor Shah Jahan's wife, Mumtaz Mahal, died during childbirth. The emperor was absolutely devastated. So what did he do? He built her a tomb so magnificent that even today, nearly 400 years later, people call it the greatest monument to love ever constructed. The Taj Mahal took 22 years to complete. Over 20,000 workers and 1,000 elephants were involved in its construction. The white marble was brought from Rajasthan, over 300 kilometers away. Precious stones were imported from all over Asia. Jade came from China, turquoise from Tibet, sapphires from Sri Lanka, and lapis lazuli from Afghanistan. Every single detail was planned to perfection. But here's what most people don't know. The Taj Mahal changes color throughout the day. In the morning light, it looks almost pink. At noon, it's brilliant white. During sunset, it takes on golden tones. And at night under the moon, it appears to glow with a soft, ethereal light. This wasn't an accident. Shah Jahan wanted the monument to reflect the changing moods of his beloved wife. The symmetry is also perfect in almost every way. If you draw a line down the center of the main building, both sides are identical. The 4 minarets at the corners are slightly tilted outward, and there's actually a practical reason for this. If an earthquake ever happened, the towers would fall away from the main tomb, protecting it from damage. What makes the Taj Mahal a wonder isn't just its beauty or the romantic story behind it. It's the fact that one man's grief inspired something so perfect, so timeless, that millions of people from around the world come to see it every year. It's proof that love, even in loss, can create something that transcends time. Number 6. Machu Picchu, Peru. Now we're heading to the Andes Mountains to talk about a place that makes you question everything you think you know about ancient engineering. Machu Picchu sits at 2,430 meters above sea level, perched on a mountain ridge above the Sacred Valley. When you first see it, especially with those dramatic clouds rolling through, it literally looks like a city floating in the sky. Built by the Incas in the 15th century, Machu Picchu is a masterpiece of dry stone construction. The stones fit together so perfectly that you can't even slide a credit card between them. No mortar, no cement. Just stone cut so precisely that it's held together for over 500 years, surviving earthquakes that would have destroyed most modern buildings. But here's the really mysterious part. When Spanish conquistadors invaded and destroyed most Inca cities, they never found Machu Picchu. The site was abandoned sometime in the 16th century, and the jungle slowly covered it. It remained hidden until 1911, when American historian Hiram Bingham was led there by a local farmer. When Bingham arrived, he found a city frozen in time, covered in vegetation, but almost perfectly preserved. To this day, we're not entirely sure what Machu Picchu's purpose was. Some think it was a royal estate. Others believe it was a sacred religious site. Some theories suggest it was an astronomical observatory. The truth is probably a combination of all three. The Incas aligned many of their buildings with astronomical events. The Intihuatana stone, for example, is positioned so that during the winter solstice, the sun sits directly above it at noon, creating no shadow at all. What makes Machu Picchu a wonder is the mystery combined with the achievement. The Incas didn't have wheels, iron tools, or draft animals, yet they built a city on a mountain that modern engineers struggle to understand. Walking through those ancient streets, you feel the presence of a civilization that mastered their environment in ways we're still trying to comprehend. Number 5. Chichén Itzá, Mexico. Let's talk about a pyramid that comes alive twice a year. Chichén Itzá, located in Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, was one of the largest Mayan cities, and its most famous structure, El Castillo, is an architectural marvel that doubles as a giant calendar. The pyramid has 4 sides, each with 91 steps. Add those together and you get 364 steps. Include the top platform as the final step, and you have 365, one for each day of the year. But that's just the beginning. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, something incredible happens. As the sun sets, the light and shadow create the illusion of a serpent descending the northern staircase. The shadow moves like a snake slithering down the pyramid, representing the feathered serpent god, Kukulkan. Think about that for a second. The Mayans calculated the exact position of the sun, the angle of their pyramid, and the placement of the staircase so precisely that this illusion happens on the same 2 days every year. Without computers, without modern astronomy tools, just mathematics, observation, and an understanding of celestial mechanics that was centuries ahead of its time. But Chichén Itzá isn't just El Castillo. The site includes the Great Ball Court, the largest and best-preserved ball court in Mesoamerica. The acoustic properties of this court are mind-blowing. If you stand at one end and whisper, someone at the opposite end, 166 meters away, can hear you clearly. Again, this wasn't luck. The Mayans designed it this way intentionally. What makes Chichén Itzá a wonder is how it proves that ancient civilizations were far more advanced than we often give them credit for. They weren't just building temples, they were encoding knowledge into architecture, creating structures that teach us about astronomy, mathematics, and engineering every time we study them. Number 4. The Colosseum, Italy. Welcome to ancient Rome's greatest entertainment venue, where 50,000 to 80,000 spectators would gather to watch gladiator fights, animal hunts, and mock naval battles. Yes, they actually flooded the arena to stage ship battles. The Colosseum, built between 70 and 80 AD, is the largest amphitheater ever built, and it's still standing nearly 2,000 years later. The engineering that went into this structure was revolutionary. The Romans invented concrete, and they used it brilliantly here. The Colosseum has a complex system of vaults and arches that distribute weight efficiently, which is why so much of it has survived despite earthquakes, stone robbers, and centuries of neglect. The outer wall originally had 80 entrance arches, and the Romans designed a crowd management system so effective that all 50,000 spectators could enter and be seated within 15 minutes and evacuate in just 5 minutes. Modern stadiums still use similar principles. But let's talk about what really happened here. The popular image of Christians being fed to lions is probably exaggerated, but make no mistake, the Colosseum was a brutal place. Gladiators fought to the death. Exotic animals were slaughtered by the thousands. Condemned criminals were executed in creative and horrifying ways. This wasn't just entertainment, it was political theater. Emperors used the games to maintain power, distract the population from problems, and demonstrate Rome's dominance by showing they could bring wild animals from Africa and warriors from across the empire. Underneath the arena floor, there was an entire network of tunnels and chambers called the Hypogeum. This underground area housed gladiators, animals, and stage props. They had a system of trapdoors and elevators that could lift animals and fighters up into the arena, creating surprise entrances that amazed the crowd. What makes the Colosseum a wonder isn't just its size or age, it's what it represents about human nature. It shows our capacity for incredible engineering and organization, but also our capacity for cruelty and violence. It's a monument to both Rome's glory and its darkness, and that complexity is what makes it endure in our imagination. Number 3. Petra, Jordan. Imagine walking through a narrow canyon for over a kilometer, towering rock walls on both sides blocking out most of the sunlight. Then, suddenly, you turn a corner and see the most beautiful facade carved directly into rose-red stone. That's your first glimpse of Petra, and it's a moment that takes your breath away. Petra was the capital city of the Nabatean kingdom, established possibly as early as the 5th century BC. These people were master traders who controlled the ancient trade routes between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. But they were also master engineers. Petra is located in a desert, so water was precious. The Nabateans created an incredibly sophisticated water management system with dams, cisterns, and ceramic pipes that could bring water from springs over 25 kilometers away. The most famous structure is Al-Khazna, or the Treasury. This building is carved directly out of the cliff face, standing 40 meters high. The level of detail is extraordinary. Columns, statues, and decorative elements are all carved from a single piece of rock. And here's the thing, Al-Khazna is just the entrance to Petra. The city extends for miles, with hundreds of tombs, temples, and structures carved into the surrounding cliffs. Petra was eventually abandoned, possibly due to changes in trade routes and a massive earthquake in 363 AD. For centuries, it was known only to local Bedouin tribes. Then, in 1812, Swiss explorer Johann Ludwig Burckhardt convinced his Bedouin guide to take him there, reintroducing Petra to the Western world. Today, it's one of the most popular archaeological sites on Earth. What makes Petra a wonder is the sheer ambition of carving an entire city into rock. The Nabateans didn't build structures. They revealed them, removing everything that wasn't the building. Walking through Petra feels like entering another world, especially with those pink and orange rock formations glowing in the desert sun. It's no wonder it's been featured in so many movies. It looks like pure fantasy, but it's completely real. Number 2. The Great Wall of China, China. Let's get one thing straight right away. The Great Wall of China is not one continuous wall. It's actually a series of walls and fortifications built over many centuries by different dynasties. The most famous sections were built during the Ming Dynasty between the 14th and 17th centuries. And while you can't actually see it from space with the naked eye, that myth doesn't make the wall any less impressive. The Great Wall stretches over 21,000 kilometers if you include all the branches, trenches, and natural defensive barriers. If you only count the actual wall structures, it's still over 13,000 kilometers long. To put that in perspective, that's longer than the distance from New York to Tokyo. Building this required millions of workers over hundreds of years. Estimates suggest that hundreds of thousands of workers died during its construction, and many were buried in the wall itself. The wall wasn't just a barrier, it was a complete defensive system with watchtowers, garrison stations, and signal towers. Soldiers could light fires or use smoke signals to communicate along the wall, sending messages across vast distances in minutes. The wall was designed to defend against invasions from nomadic groups in the north. And while it wasn't always successful, it did make invasions significantly more difficult and gave defenders crucial warning time. But here's what's really impressive about the Great Wall. It was built across incredibly difficult terrain. Some sections snake along steep mountain ridges. Others cross deserts or rivers. The builders had to adapt to every type of landscape imaginable, using local materials when possible. In some areas, it's built from stone and brick. In others, it's rammed earth or even rice-based mortar. What makes the Great Wall a wonder is what it represents about human determination and ambition. Building a fortification this long, across such challenging terrain, over so many centuries, required a level of organizational skill and sustained effort that's almost impossible to comprehend. It's a symbol of China's historical power and its desire to protect its civilization, built stone by stone over generations. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Number 1 on our list, and honestly, this is where things get really interesting because we're shifting from ancient wonders to something that shows just how far we've come. Number 1. The Burj Khalifa, United Arab Emirates. At 828 meters tall with 163 floors above ground, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai is the tallest structure ever built by humans. To put this in perspective, it's almost twice as tall as the Empire State Building. It's so tall that you can watch the sunset from the base, take the elevator up, and watch it again from the top. But the Burj Khalifa isn't just tall, it's a masterpiece of modern engineering that pushed the boundaries of what we thought possible. Building a structure this high created challenges that had never been faced before. The wind at that height is so strong that the building has to be designed to withstand forces that would tear apart most structures. The solution was inspired by nature. The building's Y-shaped floor plan is based on patterns found in desert flowers, which provide stability and reduces wind forces. The foundation alone is extraordinary. They had to dig 50 meters down and pour over 45,000 cubic meters of concrete, supported by 192 concrete and steel piles. The building took 6 years to construct, with a peak workforce of 12,000 people. The exterior is clad in 26,000 glass panels, each cut by hand, which had to be installed with precision, because even small errors at ground level would become massive problems 800 meters up. Here's something that really shows the scale. The building has its own climate. The temperature at the top can be 10 degrees Celsius cooler than at the base. The building sways slightly in strong winds, which is normal and intentional, but people on the higher floors can sometimes feel it. The elevators travel at 10 meters per second and can take you from the ground floor to the observation deck on the 124th floor in about a minute. But what makes the Burj Khalifa the number 1 wonder isn't just its height or the engineering challenges it overcame. It's what it represents about where we are as a species right now. Ancient wonders like the Great Wall or Petra were built over generations. The Burj Khalifa was built in 6 years. Ancient wonders used basic tools and manual labor. The Burj Khalifa used computer modeling, advanced materials, and cutting-edge engineering. It proves that in the 21st century, we're achieving things our ancestors couldn't even imagine. When you stand at the base of the Burj Khalifa and look up, or when you're at the top looking down at the city below where cars look like tiny ants, you realize something profound. We are living in an age of wonders just as impressive as anything built in ancient times. We just take it for granted because we're living through it. So there you have it, 10 structures that changed the world, each one a testament to human creativity, ambition, and the drive to create something that outlasts us. From the Eiffel Tower that proved critics wrong, to Angkor Wat hidden in the jungle, to Christ the Redeemer watching over Rio, to the Taj Mahal built for love, to Machu Picchu floating in the clouds, to Chichén Itzá's astronomical precision, to the Colosseum's brutal glory, to Petra carved from rock, to the Great Wall stretching across China, and finally to the Burj Khalifa reaching toward the sky. These aren't just buildings or monuments, they're proof that when humans set their minds to something, when we combine vision with determination, we can create things that inspire awe for generations. Each wonder tells a different story, but they all share one common thread. They pushed the boundaries of what was thought possible in their time. If this changed how you see these places, hit subscribe for more travel content that goes beyond the surface.